Hi, my name is Jeff Willinger, JWILLIE on Twitter, and I am super excited to be here at the European SharePoint, Office 365, and Azure conference here in beautiful Prague, Czech Republic. We are here in the middle of the conference floor of ESPC 19, and I'm lucky enough to have the CEO from FireStart, Robert Hubbard, with us. Robert, thank you so much for joining us today, and I apologize for any background noise, but like I said, we are in the middle of the conference floor, and it is very bustling. The keynote's just finished, and FireStart decided to be the premier sponsor of the conference. And I'm curious, Robert, before we get into who FireStart is and who you are, why did you decide to invest in this conference?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for the invitation. It's really great being here. We decided to be the main sponsor this year because we see a lot of going on into how orchestrate business processes. We've been over a decade very close partner to Microsoft collaboration partners, especially addressing how to build lasting human-centric business processes. So I think today when you talk about digital transformation, new setup of organizational guidelines, that becomes more and more a topic that people are interested in. And this is where we can bring in a lot of knowledge and experience from the past 10 years we've built our platform.
I know that you've won a number of awards, especially Business Process Management Platform of the Year, but talk to me about, you talk a lot about bringing people and technology working together, controlling business processes, and as you say, ignite your potential. Talk to me about what that means.
Well, I think when you look at your own organization, people get very frustrated when processes are not working properly, and becomes also a very emotional topic, not just for efficiency or cost perspective. And I think leveraging that potential that every company has by just building better processes, you already have a lot of energy on your employee side that you can re-energize into the business process. And I think that's not just set up something completely new, but just stick to the processes you have and make a better version of it and use the potential that you have on your employee side.
So I know a lot of organizations struggle with this idea of business process management.
Yeah.
Can you give me the sort of Reader's Digest version? What is it and why do organizations need it, and how can it help organizations?
Yeah. Well, I think a big problem is the separation from the organizational part, how you design processes, and the technical part, how you automate processes. And if you have a separation in these two areas, you speak a different language, and that makes a misfit in the communication. And I think one of the big USPs of FireStart is really bridging this gap between business requirements and automation capabilities on the technical side, and making both areas speak the same language to really understand the business requirements in daily business, not on an abstract level, not on a deep dive technical level, but really on an employee daily business level. I think that's the sweet spot where you need to start building the business processes.
And where does FireStart sort of come into, what separates you guys?
Well, it's again let's say, very human-centric approach, so that you don't have like a data-centric approach or just a business-centric approach, but really like this end-user productivity level approach, but building into a broader governance, because it's not like processes live side by side, but they incorporate each other into bigger, high-level business processes, and building a consistent management governance around it is kind of a unique thing. Because if you break the governance, then you have to restart all of that anew and make it not a project-level approach, but really a lasting, continuous approach that we want to incorporate. And also going beyond Microsoft and SharePoint technologies, because it's not just companies care about Microsoft technologies just for that part, but they have heavy backbone, they have SAP integrations, they have OpenText, they have Salesforce. So there's a lot of ecosystems around SharePoint that they need to incorporate into the business processes. And I think for this incorporation, FireStart can be a very good platform to do that.
Yeah, from what I've been seeing, you don't necessarily, obviously we're here at a SharePoint conference, but your platform could sit alone or sit on top of Office 365?
It can sit alone. So it's
Okay.
a completely independent stack, but we put a lot of effort into the integration into Office 365 and SharePoint. So that for the end user, it's a harmonized experience, but on the backbone, you have a dedicated platform approach with more capabilities in building the business processes and running the business processes.
They've been a lot of talk about AI and this
Yeah.
RPA. Where
Yeah.
does RPA, the robotic processing automation,
Yeah.
where does that sit within your stack?
Yeah.
And do you think about it? Does it, where's the intersection?
So business process workflow management is very related to RPA in terms of the automation intersection.
Right.
But you come from a different perspective addressing the problem. We come more from a business process approach, from a top-down planning approach, how you tackle automation usability. RPA comes from the user front-end approach. So RPA helps you as an individual recording repeating tasks and play them, so it helps you as an individual, but it's not a backbone where you build the end-to-end business process. So RPA on the end user level fits into a BPM strategy, but not the other way around. You should not build a BPM strategy on top of RPA.
Okay.
And this is where these two technologies are related. And I think people mix this up very often because they're seeing automation here, automation there. But it's really like the one is the screen automation level, the other one is the business process enterprise level, and they are completely different requirements and stacks, but they fit together very good. So what now Microsoft does with UI flow, things like that, that fits very good into our BPM strategy with FireStart.
When I found out that I was going to be able to talk to you, and there's been so much buzz about RPA, it's like the hot thing, and BPM is sort of not. However, based upon what you're telling me, I think that more organizations really need to know more about this.
I think in that regard, just another comment, RPA is like a painkiller. Yeah? So you as an end user have a pain, and RPA can help you immediately easing that pain from an automation level. But it doesn't solve the fundamental problem, business process problem in the backyard. And therefore, you don't want to end up taking trucks all year long, but you want to find out what do we need to tweak on the backbone process to make the pain not happen on the end user level. And this is, I think, the approach where you should not end up in building a lot of end user automations without thinking the business process in the backyard, but have pain ease here and restructure there in a hand-to-hand way. I think that's the way I would recommend using these two technologies.
Very cool, very cool. How did you come up with the name FireStart? I know you're a lifelong entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You enjoy starting companies.
I like building companies.
Being a mentor to other startups. How did you come up with FireStart? And I know the company has really evolved over the years.
Yeah. So on the one hand, we wanted to put emotion into the whole topic. So this is where fire is a very good metaphor for emotional.
Was that your idea at the beginning of the keynote with all the fire? Did that have anything?
That was a coincidence.
Okay.
Basically. But it was a very good entry point.
At the beginning of
the
to kick off the conference, there were fire dancers. And I said to myself, I wonder if Robert was any part of this, but a perfect time.
But it was really a good time. Yeah. But it's, again, you have emotion. With fire, it's very emotional. And like people should be bored by designing processes, but they should put emotion and empathy into the whole topic. And you should get quick results. So this is where start comes. So not just plan for a decade, but really like getting quickly into the topic, building stuff that works, getting an ROI out of it, and then build the next steps on top of it. So it's like a small step, but consistent into a bigger and better process, so to say.
That's really all I had for you today, Robert. Is there anything that I missed that you wanted to cover?
Basically, I think when you think about the whole Microsoft SharePoint ecosystem, there's a lot of services coming up, AR is popping up, but really I think people and companies should think about not just using services side by side, but how can I get an interest effect on it? Yeah? And this is where BPM comes in place. By linking services to a bigger service, to a bigger process, there's not just 1 and 1 is 2, but 1 and 1 multiplied with BPM is 10. Yeah? So in that regard, people should think not just using isolated services, but think in a bigger business process way, how you address the collaboration topic. Would be my final
I think that's where you came up with your kind of catchphrase as well. Because when I saw the catchphrase, I said, what did that have to do with business process automation? But the way you explain it really makes sense now.
That's good to hear. Thanks a lot for
Thanks for
inviting me to the
joining me.
session.
Again, I'm Jeff Willinger, JWILLIE, and we were live at ESPC 19 in Prague.